Hey guys, this is Darren Stevenson back with another video, and today I want to talk about the new Salamangreat structure deck that just came out and how I would build the deck heading into the upcoming YCS Dusseldorf. So I'm gonna do all you guys a favor here. So here's just the deck list right here. The side deck is obviously not complete, it's just a few ideas. So if you just want to have a look at the deck list and just try it for yourself, then you don't have to watch the whole video. I'm not bothered if you don't want to watch the video, and if you're just clicking on here just to get a list. I know some of you find it frustrating just to want people to hurry up and talk through all the cards, and you just want the list, right? And you just want to try it for yourself and try other people's ideas, and I completely appreciate that. Hence why I've just got a screenshot right here, and if you just want to take it away and play it for yourself, then by all means. But if you want to stick around, I'd really appreciate that. And I'll talk you through why I think I've played some of the cards and some of the ratios, and I'll talk about some interesting side deck ideas as well. And before I get into it though, it would be very good if you would subscribe, because people don't, and I'd very much like it if you did, because that'd be cool. Anyways, let's get down into it. So, let's first talk about why you would want to play a deck like this. So, coming from YCS Chicago, you've seen that Sky Striker is just getting absolutely bullied by all the innovation that's been happening around with the danger monsters. And combo decks right now are just really hot because people thought all the guys in Sky Striker was going to be the most represented deck, and rightly so, because they were. And then people were just playing stuff like the Danger Thunder Dragon decks and the Orcus decks and the Crusadia decks, just to absolutely shit on them and bully them. And can't forget Lunalight as well, the best deck. So now that the format has been sort of established, what can we do now in order to take advantage of the fact that this format has been established? So let me just first start saying that I still think Striker is going to be the most represented deck, even though people are going to lean more towards the combo decks. I feel like people would still feel more comfortable playing decks like Striker and Altergeist because they do have really good coverage, and people don't want to just play combo decks are hard. I'm just gonna end a minute, and I'm not saying that Striker isn't hard, but they have an element of linearity to them where you can play them fairly comfortably for the first couple of turns. But where control decks start to get really difficult is mid game during a turn. But people just find that sort of stuff more comfortable just playing real Yu-Gi-Oh! As opposed to just comboing off and just playing a combo deck or whatever. But I digress. So why would you play Salamangreat for this upcoming YCS? Well, I think people are taking maybe the wrong approach for it by playing dangers and stuff, because I don't think I would play this deck like a combo deck at all, because it just isn't better than any of the other combo decks out there in terms of how it does a combo. And it's really restricting as well, because the fact that Stalio says you can only use the effects of fire monsters, so it is fairly restricting, and it is really difficult to try and OTK people after this effect because you can't use Borrow Sword Dragon or something like that. So that's why I think it's more appropriate to take more of a control deck perspective on this deck. And I personally, if I was to take it to Dusseldorf, I would definitely play it more like a control deck, because I think that's where the deck holds its strengths, because it has various utility where it can search traps and also back itself up and protect its field. Kind of like Zoo, it has a lot of one card plays where you can just do a combo with just one card, and it lets you just set up a board of Salamangreat monsters that you can protect with Valinx and stuff, and it can add back a combo piece as well in Gazelle, which I'll get to when it does late in a second. And I just think it's just really versatile because it has a lot of one deck card plays that aren't too squiffy to hand traps, and above all, it just doesn't lose the draw. And the combo decks right now find draw really difficult, and I think what a lot of people might do is just main deck draw and Lockbird in their control deck strategy to try and combat the combo decks, which is something, as you can see, I've done in this deck. So let's get to it. So I've went really hand trap orientated for this deck. I will, any control deck I play, I would just absolutely put a shit ton of hand traps in them, and I'm going to go through in a second why I think these are the best hand traps. So I just picked the generic 12. I haven't put massive thought into this deck, but it's for you to just take away and just sort of apply your own ideas to it, and just to make it more comfortable and even make it better for you to think what you think the meta is going to be like in Dusseldorf. So I just put free Ash in because, like, I don't think Ash is that great, but since you're playing so many hand traps, Ash is actually higher impact when it's accompanied with another hand trap. And Ash in general, if they can't play around Ash Blossom when they go for the Saryuja play, Ash is actually really strong. So Ash can still be randomly really strong, and it hits stuff like Pot of Desires as well. And when you're playing Sky Striker, you kind of need Ash because you just want them to stop engage, because when Sky Striker gets going, it can be really difficult. And of course, I play Drawn Lockbird because it's an oppressive floodgate for combo decks, and if the main reason why I would want to play a control deck is because it doesn't lose the Drawn Lockbird, and this deck in particular just doesn't lose the Drawn Lockbird, which is really good because it gets access to a lot of its cards by sending them to the graveyard and adding them back to hand. And the only thing that really adds a card from deck to hand is the Circle and the Phalanx, and you need to have those cards sort of together for it to be a problem. And but to be honest, you can play around Drawing Lockbird by activating this in the draw phase, since it's a quick play spell, and then add a Phalanx, and then you can draw at that point. But at that point, it just doesn't matter unless you open Lady D-Book, which I'll get to in a sec. And I've also played Effect Veiler and Impermanence because they're more or less the same card, and the fact that Saryuja a lot of the time you can chain block is just really problematic. But if you have cards like Veiler and Impermanence, they just can't stop that unless they have like a Call by the Grave for the Veiler and Impermanence. You need Red Reboot randomly. And it's just not happening. These cards are just really, really strong because they just can't play around them. And the reason why I just don't like cards like Bell and Ogre is because they can be chain blocked. Whereas Ash can also be chain locked, but Ash is just really generic, and there's always a time where you can throw it at them. I was playing Ghost Ogre and Ghost Spell in this deck before, and I just found them really subpar because when they did go off, they were really high impact and they were really cool, but a lot of the time they were just sticking around in my hand, and I just found them really underwhelming and really frustrating. So those are the hand traps I would probably play. If you want to play cards in the main deck that are more going first orientated, like Artifact Sanctum, by all means do that, but I personally just wanted a deck that was more going first and going second friendly game one. So Lady D-Book, I hate this card. I actually don't like it at all. But I feel like the deck needs to be more consistent and more powerful, so I'll take the L to Draw and Lockbird if they Draw and Lockbird by Lady D-Bug, and that'll be really problematic. I'd probably just replace this with either more defensive cards or more Salamangreat cards, but typically I just don't really like Lady D-Bug because Gazelle is only triggered when you send a Salamangreat card from deck to graveyard, to graveyard in general, and when you link Lady D-Bug into a Phalanx, then you can't chain block Phalanx with Gazelle, which makes this deck really good. Because what the typical play is, if you have Gazelle, you can use Gazelle Chainlink 1 and then get Gazelle Chainlink 2, which means that this can't be ashed and you can get access to one of your best cards in your deck, or at least the card which the deck revolves around. I'm not sure what else I'd play other than this, because it seems silly to not play a Stratos, but honestly, just having another Salamangreat card with Gazelle is just miles better. I'm not sure what to say really about this card. Be sure to leave a comment below what you think about Lady D-Bug, but I personally would like to think of an alternative, especially since draws in the format, it can be really frustrating, and it just means that your deck is more powerful, but it's more weak to hand traps, and you're not playing it because it's powerful, you're playing it because it's versatile to hand traps, whereas if you play a card like Lady D-Bug, it's just not versatile anymore. I digress, so let's go on to the Salamangreat monsters. So Gazelle is just insane. I love Gazelle. I'll definitely max out on the good Salamangreat monsters for sure. Salamangood. Gazelle is just so good because it's an extender that specials itself when a Salamangreat monster has been sent to graveyard, and it can chain block the Phalanx like I've just said before, and it also is an Armageddon Knight themed monster which sends any card from deck to the graveyard, so it can get access to your extenders like Spinny. So I'm playing free Spinny because he's just a generic card that just special summons himself when you have a Salamangreat monster, and I'm playing free of him because he's a good starter because you can link it to Phalanx and he can summon himself back. Free Foxy as well as another card you can send because he is also an extender, so you can discard a Salamangreat monster and special himself. And he's also like a kind of pseudo Stratos as well, because you can normal him, use his effect to try and get to Gazelle, which means that it's much stronger because having Foxy and Gazelle is just really good because you don't necessarily need to normal summon Gazelle, because when you special summon Gazelle, it uses its effect. And I'm playing free of him because he's just I think these three are for sure the best Salamangreat monsters. Gazelle can also send the traps too, which I'll go into more detail in a sec. So Jaguar and Falco I just play as one-ofs because they're the sort of combo pieces, not so much starter cards. But Since they're like Zoo, it's really good because they can be used as starter cards. So if you don't have any other Salamangreat monster, you can just normal summon it, and then it just like sort of starts off your combo, or at least just gets you in a position where you feel more comfortable because it can get you to defensive cards and such. It's Jaguar is typically the one I summon off this because as part of the combo, once you get the Sunlight Wolf, you can special summon Jaguar by putting a Sunlight Wolf back to help recycle these, and then Sunlight Wolf's effects triggers to add a spell or trap. No, it's not that one. It triggers to add a monster to your hand. And you typically add Gazelle, because Gazelle is your best follow-up. And Falco, it's kind of like when you... I feel like Falco's not really that good, but you sort of just have it there for when you have everything. Like, if you've already got access to Jaguar through Stalio, you would just summon Falco, because then you can really just start doing some crazy stuff. To start adding back some spell and traps that you had in your graveyard that you've already used. And it also is just sort of like a combo extender. But typically, I reckon this is the worst Salamangreat in the main deck. Foolish, because it gets access to any of your extenders, like Foxy or Spinny, or Jaguar. Pot of Desires, because like, if I'm playing a control deck, I really want to be able to keep up with the combo decks, because let's face it, the combo decks are really, really, really strong, and you need as many cards as possible in order to beat them. Because with a control deck, you need to play the 1-for-1 game and just take as many cards away from them as possible, and then in your turn start generating advantage. And in this deck has the sort of privilege of being able to OTK people, so that's really nice. That's why this deck has that sort of appeal, because Sky Striker can't really OTK people, whereas this deck can. The reason why I play Pot of Desires is because it can feel really weird to play it with this and only one of it. I'd probably play two, to be honest, but for the sake of this video, I'll just put one in. And Pot of Desires is just really good for when you don't get your stuff started, and it can really help just to bait out an Ash as well, because Ash on Baelings can be just really, really annoying. Circle, it's the Fiend Rotor of the deck, which you can activate in the draw phase, like I said earlier, and it's really good to play around draw because you can't activate draw in the draw phase. And it also has a little cheeky effect as well, where you can protect a link monster from a monster effect. I kind of wish it was like Eagle Booster and not just monster effect, but whatever. So this is like the themed Super Poly, which is like really strong, makes the mirror match really fucking stupid. So you can use this and from hand or field, a Salamangreat monster and any link monster to summon this guy. And this guy gains the attack of everything that you've used, and it does something. I haven't actually read it because I've never really summoned it. So if this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card attack equal to half the combined original attack of the materials used to summon it until the end of this turn. Once for a battle, during damage calculation, if this monster battles a monster whose current attack is different from its original attack, you can double this card's attack during the damage calculation only. Okay, so that works really well with Heatleo. And if this card was fusion summoned using Salamangreat Violet Chimera as a material, battles a monster that monster's attack. Oh, decent. So you can just fusion summon that and another monster and itself to give it extra effects like the link monsters. But I haven't really used this card that much, so I can't really go into too much detail. But whereas this card is the heart and soul of the deck, you use this to do your reincarnation links, which involves just linking like a wolf into a wolf, Baelings into a Baelings, or Heatleo into a Heatleo to get their like special effects. Searchable off Baelings, so that's why you only play the one. But since I'm playing Pot of Desires, I would probably think about playing two, as like not having this access to this card makes your plays like really subpar. It's like the Miracle Fertilizer, so you can either special summon one monster from the graveyard, so it's like a reborn. And it's searchable as well because it's a Salamangreat card. Or you can target a link monster that's been used to summon with its same name. So you can target something like Sunlight Wolf, which has been link summoned using another Sunlight Wolf. It's special summon two cards, which is pretty insane. Upstart, because in a control deck, I want to make my deck as consistent as possible. And then the traps. So people can be really tempted just to play one of each of these. I personally think you should probably play more, because having this card accompanied with like something like Sanctum or any of your Floodgates is really strong, because it means if they have Red Reboot, you've already got the out in your Floodgate, and it's really strong to accompany this card with like any of Floodgate that you're trying to do. And this card is just a really good disruptor to stop them from playing into your board, but I'm pretty sure Roll's better. And the reason why I think you should play more than one copy is because when you're playing against decks like Altergeist and Salamangreat, when you're playing like a Mirror, Altergeist, or Sky Striker, those games are going to go on for a very long time, and you need to like be good at resource management. And I do realize these cards can set themselves and you can add them back, but they're not going to last forever, and it's making it more difficult. So like if you already have access to these, like if you hard drew them and they're really good to hard draw as well, then you can just search another one, and that means that you have like, for example, you wouldn't just play one Widow Anchor because it's searchable, right? It's about like managing your resources effectively in order to win the grind game against a deck like Sky Striker, which is honestly just better than this deck at grinding. So you probably have to end the game like fairly quickly and just OTK them. And that's the main deck. The extra deck, I couldn't really like think of too much to put in. So I maxed out on Sunlight Wolf because he's the main guy that you like Reincarnation Link with. I played 3 Balinks because it does come up for me a lot. Like I have to Reincarnation Link that to put one in the graveyard a lot of the time, and it's just good to have like back-to-back Balinks because it means it can just protect your monsters. And I play 2 Heat Leo because I don't think the third really comes up, but obviously you need 2 for the Reincarnation Link thing. And the removal, this helps to get over a Striker Link so they don't summon Ray back because that could be really difficult. And in Curse just outs anything, and it's so easy to make in this deck because of Sunlight Wolf and Balinks. Phoenix because you can still use its effect after you've used Stalio. Boral Sword to elbow TK. Stalio because it's a really good starter card in this deck. But what's really stressful about Stalio is you might have noticed that I'm not playing any like level 3 cards like the Wielder and even Terratop, for example. It's because I think those cards are a bit more like if you go Terratop and then special summon a Takaton Borg and overlay it into Stalio, if you don't have a Salamangreat normal summon after that and this gets stopped, that's really, really problematic. I just don't want to put this in the extra monster zone at all because it can't be linked into a Veilings. If it could be linked into a Veilings, it'd be really good, but since it can't, it's just it makes your deck super vulnerable if you have to do this first, and that's why I don't really want to do that. I would rather just play more Salamangreat monsters instead of the level 3 extenders. What do you guys think? So I'm not going to go too much into the side deck, it's just generic hand traps, Tornado Dragon, the combo, the Scythe, and then the Floodgates, because Floodgates accompanied with this is really, really strong. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think you would play Salamangreat for Dusseldorf for any events coming your way? I personally think the deck is really, really good, and I quite like it, but I'm not sure if it can really go toe-to-toe with Sky Striker, as I think it would find that deck really hard. However, if you just play combo decks round after round after round, I think you've got a fair shout of winning the event, because this deck can really stick it to the combo decks, especially if it draws Droll. And since it has recurring defensive cards and it can just end the game really quickly, you won't get punished by just letting the game go on for too long with a combo deck. So yeah, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, guys, and let me know what you think of Salamangreat. See you guys later.